blog with Miss Rennu. Today I want to talk about something that so many of us parents do to our children. I've been guilty of this as well, and this is one of the biggest things we run into our daycares all the time. Force feeding your children. Believe it or not, parents, force feeding your kids only leads to a negative consequence in their life. As parents, I know we want the best for our kids, right? After all, we want them to be successful, we want them to be healthy. And when it comes to eating, I don't know what happens to us, but we think they have to eat every hour, they have to finish all their plate of food. Our intention of actually making a child, forcing a child to finish their meal is not a good thing. Now you're going to wonder why I said that. But whether you're consuming the right foods or having a balanced diet, when you're forcing your child to finish their food all the time, and especially when you're giving them more than they need to eat, you're actually defying nature and you're defying their body experience of when they want to eat and how much they should eat. Many times we know meal times becomes a source of frustration instead of an enjoyable experience. And in actual fact, meal time should be an enjoyable experience. What do we say as parents? Please, please, one more bite. If you eat everything, I'll let you watch Blippi, right? If you eat everything, I'm going to buy you a new toy. This so-called reward system, threats, whatever you want to do, is then passed on over to the schools. You bring your kids to daycare and you tell the teacher, you load them up with food in the containers and you tell your teacher, they must finish their food today. Now you pass over that entire negative experience over to the teacher, and parents fail to understand that force feeding is not allowed in licensed daycare centers. What they do in home daycares, I can't answer for that. But I can only tell you for licensed daycare centers, anything where you force a child is not allowed, especially force feeding. And parents need to understand that when you impose something like this onto a teacher to do to a child in the school environment, you're only creating a negative situation because you've already created that negativity in the house. And now what happens is you're passing that entire negative experience over to the teacher. We want the relationship between the teacher and the child to be positive. So you need to keep those stressful food meal experiences in your home and not in the school. At school, we want it to be enjoyable, and I'm hoping that today, after today's blog, parents can also make this an enjoyable experience at home. Now let's go back to the parent. We need to remember that forcing anyone, let alone children, is not a solution to a problem. When we force feed our children to eat, the act of being pressurized is more likely going to lead to that development of negative association with food and possibly an entire drama during meal times. And then what happens is, another thing what we do is, we actually stop the children from responding to the internal signals of hunger in their body. We have to remember that the human body is phenomenal, and your body is going to tell you when you're hungry. Now, if you're going to challenge that and force somebody to eat when they're not even hungry, this is going to actually result in a lot of eating disorders later on, including obesity. So we have to remember, force feeding is not helping anyone. You're just shoving food down a child's throat, but you're actually killing all their natural responses to hunger. Number two, another thing we need to remember is by forcing children to eat, parents naturally want the child to consume the meal, right? And not to waste the food that has been prepared for them. My experience in the last 20 years of managing daycares, especially with certain cultures, is the humongous portions that are sent for children to eat. Even I, as an adult, have a problem consuming that much food. The other issue that I witnessed is the lack of variety that is sent. So for example, if the child eats boiled rice at home, boiled rice or whatever you may give them, sending boiled rice with nothing else every single day? Come on, parents, even as adults, you don't want to eat the same thing every single day. Your child also wants variety. So even if they only like a few things, like if they like rice or pasta or salad or sandwiches, whatever, we don't know when we wake up in the morning, right? You don't know what your child is going to eat. Send a little bit of everything in the container so they have a choice and they'll eat what they want to eat during the day. But if I have to open this lunchbox and have rice every single day or pasta every single day and no other variety, after a while, I'm not going to want to eat it. So we have to remember that you like variety as adults, so do kids. And maybe they don't have such a variable menu. Just add a few things in there, make the effort. I know you're busy, I know we work hard, but it's our child, right? Open that lunch container before you go to bed at night and pack a little bit of a variety of things and let the child choose what they want to eat. Please, give the daycares an enjoyable experience for meal times. Please. Pressurizing your child to eat and force feeding has been associated, as I mentioned, with many negative consequences. Here are some examples of those. First, children would develop a complete dislike and associate meal times with a negative experience and the drama. So you're going to have to deal with that every day. Secondly, pressurizing a child to eat will undermine their appetite control and reduce their natural responses to hunger in their body or their fullness signals. Your body will send signals when you're hungry and when you're full. You're basically defying all of that when you force feed your child. Number 3, trying or experimenting different foods by forcing it down their throats will also result in negative association to that particular type of food. Your child has their own taste buds. Definitely have them try things, but if they don't like it, don't force it. They don't have to eat it. Find another substitute. And another last point, offering children these huge, humongous portions will only lead to eating disorders. After all, do we want our kids to be obese? I don't think so. As it is in this country, in the United States, obesity is a huge issue. So why don't we as parents take a little bit of responsibility to ensure that we don't lead our child in that direction? We need to also remember that our bodies are very capable of letting us know when we want to eat or drink. It is a natural reaction within our own systems. So why do we want to fight that or change nature? By offering food to a child who rejects food, do not turn this experience into a battle. Children are very clear in telling you what they want and what they don't want to eat. So if you're struggling with a poor eater, then keep a diary of the things they like to eat and when they like to eat that. Keep kind of a little diary or a tracker, and soon you'll find out you'll be able to refer to that and there is a particular pattern. Not every child is going to eat every 3 hours. Some kids eat every 2 hours. People's patterns change as they grow, right? As you grow bigger, as you grow older, as you become more physically active, your body requires more. So there's so many different apps out there. In the time that I had my babies, I didn't even have apps. You have so many apps where you can keep track of all these things. And that little stomach, we have to remember, it's a tiny little stomach. So be realistic in your portions as well. Remember, a portion for a child, the best guide is actually the palm of a child's hand. That's considered one portion, and that should be the portion. Palm-sized portion of rice, palm-sized portion of vegetables, palm-sized portion of strawberries. Not your palm, their palm size. Last but not least, avoid using gadgets for mealtime. Putting on the iPad, giving them the iPad, staring at a television. Stop, parents. Worst thing you can do. Why don't you actually spend time with them during meal times? Talk to them. When your child is engaged, talking to you, you'll develop communication, you'll develop relationships, and guess what? Mealtime will become a nice, positive experience. But it takes patience. Rome wasn't built in a day. So you need, if you're going to implement the ideas that I'm giving you today, you need to have patience. And last but not least, you're going to say, well, what am I going to talk to my child during meal times, right? Teach them table manners. I'm shocked at how so many kids, even kids older than 5, come to our after-school program and have zero table manners. They have no idea how to eat, what to do with their hands, what to do with their utensils. Parents, this is critical. It's part of your etiquette, your daily etiquette and your manners. We all want our children to be successful, right? What's the point of sending them to Ivy League colleges? What's the point of those straight A's if you cannot have basic etiquette and manners? So spend time, and if you are struggling with teaching those to your children, we have a great program at forgoodmanners.com, developed by Ms. Sheena, who's part of Genius Kids. For Good Manners, F-O-R, forgoodmanners.com. Wonderful programs. You can actually buy personalized table mats, all kinds of activities that you can do with your child at home, in the leisure of your house, to be able to teach them good manners and etiquette. We of course continue that at school, but you need to start that exercise at home right from the time that they're little. Please don't forget, manners are critical. I will leave you with this quote, as I always do in every blog. As Amy Vanderbilt once said, good manners have much to do with emotions. To make them ring true, one must feel them, not just exhibit them. So, on that note, keep smiling and no force feeding, please.